Hi everyone, I'm very excited. This is week 5 on Mounjaro, also known as Zepbound in the USA. I've had wins on and off the scales. I've been breaking records while exercising, and I've learnt a lot about muscle loss, protein, and something we all do every day, breathing. Stay tuned to find out more and subscribe. So this is week 5. So I've gone on to the next dose of Mounjaro, which is the 5mg pen. I did the injection on Friday and today is Wednesday. So sorry, it's a bit out of sync, but I've been busy basically. Anyway, no change really, except my guts are definitely slowing down more than they were on the 2.5. I don't have constipation, but it's getting that way. So to counter that, I started eating some prunes from the health food shop. Not too many, just like a small handful, maybe 3 or 4. And some sort of flaxseed mixes. So you can get this in health food shops and supermarkets and, you know, generic things. Basically milled flax seeds. So that's good, it seems to work, which is good. So I'm on track to dumping properly again, let's say. Anyway, I'm still got hunger. Not particularly ravenous, but there are the thoughts of like, that's food's nice. There is food noise. Potentially it's toning down a little bit, but not so much. If there's a cake sitting here, I would want to eat it basically. Luckily there isn't a cake, so I haven't. Right, I got on the scales this morning. I was 17 stone, 6 pounds, 8 ounces, which is 244 pounds or 111 kilos. So at the start of this, 5 weeks ago, I was 18 stone, 10 pounds, 262 pounds or 119 kilos. That's a loss of 1 stone, 4 or 18 pounds or 8 kilograms. That's just in 5 weeks. That's not bad. When you think if you go and buy some bags of sugar or you pick up some dumbbells, 8 kilos is a reasonable weight. So I'm really, really pleased. You know, it's not excessive like some people I've seen on YouTube, but it's a lot of than other people basically, and I'm happy. So I've been measuring physical attributes with a tape I got off Amazon. It's not particularly accurate, to be honest, to the 1/4 of an inch accuracy, which is like that, so it's quite a few millimeters. But even so, there's noticeable difference. So I've lost 5 inches off my belly. That's the bit around the biggest part, around the belly button. Both calves have shrunk by about 1/2 inch, and so have both thighs. Chest has shrunk by 3 inches, which means I've lost 10 inches off my body in 5 weeks. I'd say my waist is about the same because I still pull on my trousers and shorts and wear a belt, and they haven't sort of started falling off or anything in the street, which would be quite embarrassing. But 10 inches overall it's nearly a foot. So that is awesome. So one of the things I've been reading about on various Facebook groups and obviously on YouTube is around muscle loss, which, you know, that's bad. I don't want to lose muscle. I just want to lose flab. So I've been drinking protein shakes 2 or 3 times a day, sort of breakfast, lunch and dinner, with food obviously. That hopefully is making a difference. They're quite nice drink, because you just drink water or decaf coffee or something. And going on rowing machine and the bike and doing weights, my muscle mass according to the scales has increased a little bit, hasn't dropped at all. So my fat percentage has dropped to about 30% from 35, but my muscle mass is increasing slightly as well. So that's another good win. So in some of my other videos, I've talked about what I've been eating, and to be honest, I haven't continued that because I eat a lot of the same thing all the time. So for breakfast, I might have things like an oat pancake that I make. So it's blended oats with a bit of egg and milk chucked in a pan. So I cook it like a pancake and then cover it in guacamole and lettuce and leaves and things and chilies and garlic powder and all that sort of stuff. Another one I might do is sort of an omelette with onion and chilies in it. And the same thing, cover it in guacamole, seeds, herbs and things like that. So it's all healthy. Fold it over like one of those folded pizzas. Delicious. I haven't had any bread as such, I don't think, in the 5 weeks. So no sort of mass produced crap from the supermarket, no sliced bread. But I'm considering making some bread out of rye flour and wholemeal flour with nuts and seeds without any added sugar, which I have done in the past, added sugar to a bread, which I'm making the bread maker, because it helps the yeast sort of ferment or grow, whatever it does. But adding sugar, I think, will probably be a bad idea. I could add some honey maybe, or agave, that stuff you get out of cactuses, I think it is. Don't quote me, have to Google it. But yeah, it's like a sweet, natural honey that's not from bees. But maybe it'd be fine without that, because wholemeal flour is quite sweet anyway. So if I do that and it's a success, I may make a video about making that kind of bread. For lunches, I might have a potato, either a white potato or sweet potato with a teeny bit of cheese in it and raw onions and chilies. I love them, lovely. If you happen to own an onion company, feel free to sponsor my videos because they're all about onions. So for lunch, I might have something like falafels made of like chickpeas or something with a salad, or maybe some corn ham. So remember, I'm vegetarian, so I don't eat any meat or sliced ham or anything. What else may I have? Might just have vegetables done in the oven. Let's say carrots, parsnips, potatoes, chucked on some garlic powder and chili and a little bit of olive oil dressing, not done too hot, maybe at 160 for a bit. That's 160 Celsius. Until they're nice and soft, and just eat those. Delicious. I haven't had too many legumes recently, like chickpeas, kidney beans, black beans, or anything like that, which I should do really. It's just I can't be bothered to look in the cookbooks for a recipe. So I might start doing that next week for a change of these videos. Might do some cooking with Dominic videos, which would be quite good fun. Because watching other people's videos, they're like saying, oh, what do I eat? And one of the guys, I can't remember his name, it's Phil or something. He's got quite a lot of viewers. I'm very jealous I haven't. He was making things like a tuna sandwich. So well, that's quite boring, isn't it? For dinner, I might have some kind of tofu scramble, which is tofu and vegetables mashed up like scrambled eggs, or sliced tofu dipped in corn flour to sort of make it a bit crispy with garlic powder and chili powder, and just lightly fry it, and I have a salad on the side. So it's a bit samey actually, but we've got loads of cookbooks I've done. Just looking at them now, we've got Vegan Made Easy, and there's Bosch, various other sort of vegetarian and vegan books. So like, why don't I get them out the shelf and actually look at them? So yeah, next week we might do some cooking together, which would be good. But it's interesting talking about food, because when I've been looking on Facebook groups, people are saying, you know, can I stay on Mounjaro while stuffing my face with fried chicken and cakes and pies and things like that? It's like, well, you can, but when you stop, you're just going to get fat again. The whole idea of this is to help you lose weight safely while you change your life, which will be the rest of your life. So that includes what you eat and how you exercise moving forward to learn new ways. So I think it's quite interesting where people think, I'm just going to lose weight and not change. It doesn't work like that. So for quite a few years, actually, I've been following Dr. Grieger, who writes on a website called nutritionfacts.org. And he's written several books, like this one here, How Not to Die. Quite a good title, isn't it? It's very thick, actually. But I'd say a third of it, so you can see that the smaller part is all the references, because it's all evidence-based, basically. And even if you just read one thing in this book, is the preface around how he became a doctor and what happened to his gran, where she was literally dying of heart disease. She had a few weeks to live. She was in a wheelchair. She could hardly breathe. This is back in the 60s, I think. She went to a vegan retreat that she happened to hear about. Veganism back then was like a new thing. And within a few weeks, she was out of there walking, and she lived another 10 years. And heart disease is the thing that concerns me more than anything, because it is the number one killer in the West. Being fat means you're going to have blocked arteries eventually, or partially blocked arteries. And doing exercise or anything, if one of those blockages or partial blockages breaks off, that sort of scale in your arteries breaks off, That's when a clot forms and you either have a heart attack or you get a stroke. So remember, I'm not a doctor, so read about it, but this starts with part 1, how not to die from heart disease. Then there's a chapter on all the major diseases, lung disease, brain disease, digestive cancers, infections, diabetes, high blood pressure, liver diseases, blood cancers, kidney disease, breast cancer, suicidal depression, prostate cancer, Parkinson's disease, and iotronic causes, which is a strange word, but I think that's how doctors kill you. And in America, which because he's an American doctor, it's actually quite common for a doctor to kill you accidentally from various ways, like drugs and leaving knives inside you and stupid stuff like that. It's a bit spooky actually, but it's definitely a good book. And Amazon have it on offer quite often. So I recommend checking out How Not to Die by Dr. Grieger, because I've read that several times and listened to it on audiobook, and it's really good. And of course, he's got the How Not to Die cookbook, which is interesting, based on something he calls the Daily Dozen, which is a group of foods and herbs you have every day to basically counteract all these illnesses. So I'm thinking, if I can live that way in the future, lose the weight, and do exercise like I am currently on the Peloton and the rowing machine and walking out with a weighted backpack, and you know, that's a good start basically, and avoid the cakes and all the junk. So I recommend you check out those bits and bobs and check out his website Nutrition Facts, where there's loads of videos and all sorts of stuff, including on GLP-1 drugs and pros and cons. He's even written a book about it actually, but I thought that might be too boring or possibly scary because I'm actually doing it. But I get over that sort of anxiety because the side effects of the drugs are nothing compared to dying of heart disease. So that's that. So still on the sort of food related topics, I thought, well, what else would help sort of in supplement form? So I'm not a big believer in supplements. I think there's a whole industry that's been built up around selling you almost lies, because as you eat stuff, it goes into your stomach and gets digested, and a lot of the things don't survive that acid. But I am taking beetroot extract, which years ago, about 10 years ago, I took beetroot juice, and it definitely made a big difference to my blood pressure back then and my sort of sports performance, because I was cycling 20 miles a day, 10 miles each way to work. And I noticed a difference in my cycling. Taking a sort of high strength B12 supplement, being a vegetarian, I don't eat meat, which is the main source of B12, because cows and things eat the grass and they get it from the grass and the mud that they eat. You know, everything we have now is very sterile. We wash the vegetables and we don't generally go and eat in clumps of mud. So that's why we don't have much B12. And also a fairly high dose of vitamin D3, which is what you get from the sun, but it's not particularly sunny in the UK. And even though we get out and about, it's probably not enough. So a lot of people in the Northern Hemisphere are a little bit short of D3. So that's why I take that supplement. So that's it. And to be fair, overall on this drug, I don't know whether it's more of a positive mindset or good mental health currently, but I feel really good. I feel strong, I feel fit and excited about the future, basically. Yeah, so there's a way to go, another 40 or 50 pounds, but you know, we've made a big bite out of that in 5 weeks. So yeah, I'm excited. So talking of exercise, I said at the start of the video, there's been some good wins. So I have a Peloton bike, which you haven't seen, it's in the other room, but I haven't ridden it since I've been on Mounjaro. Don't know why, I just didn't want to. I've been using the new rowing machine, which is very cool and exciting. Look at my other video on the hydro for that. But anyway, so I've been doing the rowing and I've been taking the beetroot, which might have been helping. I've been doing some weights as well, because there's a device called a Peloton Guide, which you stick on top of your TV and it watches you doing your exercises, and it's like a I don't know, like an Xbox Kinect almost. It's quite cool. And you can get it quite cheap as well, for like $50 to $100 on like Black Friday. And because I've already got a Peloton app membership because of the bike, I don't have to pay for anything else. I just had bought the Peloton guide and off I go. And that was good. So last week I did a workout, lots of squats, especially goblet squats where I'm holding a heavy weight like this, like a 10 kilo weight, doing a squat. And my legs the next day felt quite stretched, delayed onset muscle soreness. Feels like I've done a lot of work. So I went on the bike and I thought, I'm going to do a nice recovery ride. But it said in the top corner of the screen, it said there's a live ride starting in 10 minutes. I thought, well, that's a good coincidence. So I warmed up for 10 minutes, joined the ride, and then to cut a long story short, because it's in the other video, I had my strongest, most powerful output on any ride I've done on Peloton for 30 minutes. So I've had the bike 6 years and I beat my previous fast time from pre-COVID basically. And I came 20th out of about 450 people. And that's with stiff legs. And I thought, this is interesting. I've lost some weight. I'm taking the beetroot. I'm on the hydro, which is a different sort of exercise. But it just blew me away. It was completely unexpected. And then on the rower, when I started that, I found out I wasn't a very good rower, to be fair. But they have a cardio kickstart program, which is you start off for a few sessions of like 5 minutes and 10 minutes, just doing gentle rows. Then you do a little bit of a test for 5 minutes, I think it was. Not a flat out row, but a pretty much flat out row, sort of 80 to 90% test. And I got 2 minutes 13 per 500 meters average, basically. Which if you're using Concept 2 might be actually quite slow, but I've noticed that my output on this is different to a Concept 2, so they're not really comparable. But to cut a long story short, I finished the program yesterday, so that's a 5-week program. Did the test again at the end of it, and my time was down to 2:03 average. So that's basically 10 seconds difference, which I thought that's quite impressive. I was very pleased with that. So everything's going in the right direction. It was interesting when I was starting, I actually thought I had another week to go on 2.5 milligrams. I think because May is a long month, it's like 31 days, it's almost like 5 weeks in May. And when I got the pen out of the fridge, it looked like there was loads left. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. I have got another week to go. But when I came to unscrew it and prime it and things, it didn't move. And so that's what they call the golden dose. It's like the extra fifth one that you shouldn't use, but a lot of people on Facebook do. And they sort of suck it out with a diabetes syringe. It's like, I sort of understand why they do that in America because it's so expensive. But over here in the UK, you either get it for free through our National Health Service, or if you pay for it, it's like £150. I thought that's not a huge amount of money over the space of a month when you have to pay for your medicines. And is it worth messing around with your life and things like that? So I just thought it was interesting, but there is a lot of it left. I can see why people do it, but I wasn't going to do it. So I went straight to the 5 milligram one and injected that. That's all I've got to say about that, to be honest. Oh, and the other thing is I keep on choosing different injection sites to see if it makes any difference. So I did left thigh first, then I did right thigh, then I did left belly, then right belly. And it needs to be 5 centimeters or more away from the belly button for some reason. I did notice a bit of bruising when I did it on the belly, but I didn't actually notice any difference in how the medicine worked. I found the things that did make a change were eating late and what I ate and how much liquids I'd had. So I've started to increase my liquids, including the protein shakes now. So I probably have getting for 3 litres of protein shakes a day now, plus water, plus decaf coffee. And I don't eat late at all, never past 7 p.m. now. And in fact, my dinners are generally something that's liquidy, like a salad or apples. So I think that's made the biggest difference. Yeah, so I thought it was interesting though, playing with the different sites, because on Facebook in the groups, people say, oh, it makes a big difference if I do it in my legs or if I do it in my guts. So everyone's different. So if you're just starting this, just try out the different positions you can inject to see how it works for you. Oh, the final thing I want to mention is about the rowing is breathing, because being a big bloke, and I guess anyone who's doing this medicine is big, they generally have a big tummy. So on a rowing machine, if you're down in the gym or on a Concept 2 or you're at home like I am on a Hydro or something, my gut gets in the way basically of breathing. You're moving backwards and forwards and your legs come up and you've got this big belly that I guess is squashing your lungs. So you're reducing the volume you can breathe in. So when you're under a high load, you're going backwards and forwards quickly, or you're pulling and pushing your legs really hard for a big, powerful row, then I found for a number of weeks, I was struggling to breathe. And you have that sensation of, I guess, ultimately it's too much carbon dioxide in your blood, where you feel like you have to slow down because you're just running out of air. So on YouTube, I've been following Dark Horse Rowing, and there's a couple of others. I think one's like called Big and Tall or something. I'll find them and put them in the description. But they have things about double breathing. So you breathe at the end of the row and you breathe at the start and exhale, of course. So that double exhale gets rid of the carbon dioxide. And I was trying it for a couple of times last night, and it did come quite naturally, actually. I thought it wouldn't. I thought it would be really hard, but it made sense. It's quite noisy. We're going like that. You sound like an idiot. But I found when I was doing my test at the end of the Cardio Kickstart program that I wasn't really that tired, and I felt much better, and I could go on at that pace for longer. So if you do any rowing, type into Google or YouTube how to double breathe on a rowing machine, and you might learn something, because I thought it was quite transformational for me. Anyway, I think that's it for week 5 update. I hope you've enjoyed it. We've talked about a lot of things. So I might do some cooking videos next, which will be exciting, because I know people find it hard to eat sometimes and get out of those old habits. So we might do some vegetarian things, like just an omelette. Obviously it's not vegan. The oat pancake I like to make quite often, because that is easy to make. It's quite stodgy. It fills you up, lots of fibre in it. Oats are good for you, they're quite calorific as well, so it's filling for the whole morning. And see if you enjoy those. So maybe see you on the next video. Bye-bye.